That do that, primarily the sternocleidomastoids, are attached to the sternum, which is part of the chest. So if someone has real weak abdominals, it might be hard for them to stabilize their sternum enough so that they can flex. So that's why your book says you might have to put a hand right on the chest like that and then have them do cervical flexion to help stabilize the sternum. And excuse me, let me go on this. Oh, okay. And then your books in your notes mention that you can test specific sternocleidomastoids. So I could get her to turn to the left there and then do cervical flexion like that. Okay, so turn all the way to your left and come up like that. And that's testing specifically the right sternocleidomastoid. Or I can have her turn to the right and do the same thing for the left sternocleidomastoid. I'm not going to ask you to do that on the skills test, but that is, I think, in your notes. All right, and then when you're doing cervical flexion, so can you keep looking up at the ceiling and lift your head up off the table? It mentions giving 2-finger resistance, just to help give some guidance about how much resistance you need for that. It's not a thing where you need to put a whole bunch of resistance for max resistance. Okay, and then just, so what does it mean if I say do a muscle test for right cervical rotation? That means when you give your resistance, it'll be in the direction of left cervical rotation. I might ask you to do a muscle test of the right cervical rotators. That's the same thing as what I just said, the muscles that do right rotation. So don't get confused if we say do a muscle test of the right cervical rotators. Don't think, well, that means it's the left sternocleidomastoid that does that, and then you start testing for left cervical rotation. All right, so I could say it 2 different ways to mean the same thing. Test right cervical rotation or test right cervical rotators. And where the confusion might come in is with that second one. If I say test right cervical rotators, you might think the rotators on the right side of the neck, which does left cervical rotation. All right? So if I say right cervical rotators, that means the muscles that do right cervical rotation, which happens to include the left sternocleidomastoid. All right, I'm not getting clarifying, satisfying looks. So do I need to clarify that anymore? You okay,
Yeah.
John?
I think I got it up.
Okay.
When you're testing whether it's a 0 or 1,
Yes.
you're starting them in right.
Okay. Can you scoot down just a little bit, Jane? So I want to test her right cervical rotation or her right cervical rotators, but she's not able to do it, so I'm palpating. I'd be fine just starting right here and asking, try to turn your head that way. That'd be fine to start there. You could start with her in left rotation. So try to bring your head around the other way. That's fine. Now, if I was doing the second way, I should probably start her in right cervical rotation. And say, hold it right there, don't let me turn. All right, anything else? All right, we'll have a break.